2 seconds. You got everything that need to be changed and you're good to go? You had,
Sure.
you had something had to be changed, didn't you?
Cindy
Some
gave it
verbiage? Good evening, everyone. The Madison County Board of Education's regular board meeting, regular session is now open. Ms. Bates, do you mind praying, please?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the summertime. Thank you for the break that it gives us from school. Thank you for the rain that you've brought us as well that has given us a break from the heat. And I pray that as we enter this new school year, you would help us all to respond gracefully as we start and to be good stewards of the gifts that you have given us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. I recommend approval of the agenda dated July 23, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the minutes dated June 13th, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 District highlights. Before we get into district highlights, and I ask you all to share anything that you have going on, we're getting ready for, teachers are coming on Thursday and Friday. Schools have been working hard. I did want to share with you, going forward with our meetings, we talked about having board meeting at each individual district, one a year. So we were going to start off with districts 1 and 2 for fall semester, and then we'll have 3, 4, and 5 for spring semester. So tentatively, we'll have Mr. Curry on the August 22nd board meeting. So August 22, it'll be one of the schools in District 1. And then Ms. Bates, if we could have you select a school in your district for October 24th. And then Mr. Brooks, the January meeting on January 23rd. Mr. Jones, District 4 on February 20th. And Mr. Byrd will have you in District 5 on March the 20th. That way what we'll do is that we'll leave testing week, the testing month of April, and then graduations in May. So that way we'll get an opportunity. And the goal here is so that we can go ahead and, over a 6-year term, which is our board members, they'll be able to see 30 different school sites going across the district so that they can see each school, because they're voting on things that are district-wide, but they don't necessarily get to go to every single school in our district. So this is a way for us to be out in our communities that we serve, as well as giving them an opportunity to see the schools. And what we'll probably do is about maybe 5:15, have a quick 15-minute tour beforehand, just to kind of show you the campus, and then we'll have our meetings there at 5:30. And we're gonna let the board members select the schools, because traditionally when we've done this, they've always been like at the high schools, but we want them to be dispersed around the elementaries and also that way. So this is something we're gonna be starting up for this academic year. So, with that, I'll turn it over to the board president for district highlights. If
Well,
there's
I
board
was
members.
gonna piggyback off that a little bit.
Okay.
It's gonna be something to kind of showcase the school too.
Correct.
Like they might have the band play or something that night at the board meeting. I mean, just whatever that school wants to showcase that night. I think it's a good idea. So, anybody else got anything? District highlights? You got anything?
Other than teachers, and we're starting to get ready to come back to school. Parents are looking forward to sending off their students to school after summer vacation. For new teachers, this is a time sometimes of anxiety. I have some advice for you. If you're a new teacher, go to your principal or your assistant principal and ask, who's the best teacher of this subject or this grade level? And make that your mentor. You will have things happen to you that they did not teach you in your university program. Sometimes the people who teach university programs are very well-meaning, but they don't have firsthand knowledge of how a classroom works. And if you're a new teacher walking into that building, find the best to copy. When you have questions, ask them early, and make sure that if you have questions about how the procedures are for that school, that you consult with either your lead teacher or your assistant principal early. Good communications is the key for success for a new teacher.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. I don't have anything at the moment, sir, so on to you.
Mr. President, I have the honor of recognizing one of our retirees tonight. That one sitting out there with the biggest smile.
Right. The one that just did the dance?
She has been instrumental in a lot of things in Madison County, and I'd like to read, we want to take an opportunity to recognize Dorothy. Ms. Strong has done so much, and we just wanted to take this opportunity at a board meeting to recognize her as she enters her wonderful retirement years. So, Dorothy Strong has served the Madison County school system for 30 years as a special education teacher, a collaborative teacher, and a Madison County's dyslexia resource specialist. She taught at Madison Crossroads, Legacy Elementary, Walnut Grove, and served 6 years as our district's dyslexia specialist. She also taught 10 years in middle school in Texas in Huntsville prior to coming to Madison County Schools. She's had a long and very successful career in education. While working as a special educator at Madison Crossroads, Dorothy began educating herself about dyslexia, how students are affected by it, and what educators can do to identify and adjust instruction for students struggling to learn to read. Sadly, one in 5 students in our country are dyslexic or have dyslexic tendencies. Dorothy became a certified academic language therapist in 2013. Through this work, she brought the concept of multisensory education to Madison County, sharing her knowledge with elementary, middle, and high schools across the district. She provided countless hours of training on dyslexia, identifying dyslexia, and multisensory teaching strategies that are necessary to help students with dyslexia. She gave freely of her time by providing many of these training sessions during their summer breaks. Dorothy also worked tirelessly with our reading coaches to provide explicit training that was then turned around to Madison County teachers. Many teachers shared that they will continue to use the free materials and resources that Dorothy produced and provided to them over the years. It's important to note that much of the training and materials provided for teachers and reading coaches occurred years ahead of the state dyslexia law, which is now mandated. She also organized meetings to help Madison County parents of dyslexia students connect with resources and supported them with the monthly newsletter and other information. Dorothy has represented our system well at the state level and beyond. In 2019, she was appointed by Dr. Mackey to serve on the State Literacy Task Force to assist districts with implementing the Alabama Literacy Act. In 2021, while she was vice president of the Alabama branch of the International Dyslexia Association, she received a Lifetime Achievement Award for her commitment to the children of Alabama. She has trained teachers and regional reading coaches throughout the state in multisensory instruction and the SPIRE intervention program. Dorothy has presented at the Mega Conference in Mobile and at the International Dyslexia Association National Conference in New Orleans. It would be hard to think of another person in the Madison County school system that has had more impact on teachers and students alike than Dorothy Strong. Her work has resulted in multitudes of students learning to read successfully and a system of teachers more knowledgeable about dyslexia, how to identify it, and how to support students struggling with learning to read. We recognize and appreciate Dorothy Strong for all she has done for the students, teachers, parents, and our school community. Dorothy, we just want to say thank you.
Okay.
Now I will bid you adieu for my retirement.
Thank you, ma'am. You are appreciated.
Thank you. It is a great county to work in, and I hope it continues to be so.
We appreciate you, ma'am.
Take my folks and I
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
take our leave now.
We'll continue with the board meeting, so you guys can go enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much. We will.
We wanted to support her. She's a gem.
Thank you.
Administrative items? It's just us now.
Yep. I recommend approval of athletic ticket price increases as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion?
Yes, go ahead, Bill.
We discussed earlier in the earlier board meeting about doing packages. Would that be considered later on? For year-long passes,
Yeah.
Season pass.
season passes?
So here's where we're at right now, so you guys can get an idea. What we can do immediately is, I was talking with Matt about this, and he talked with S2 Pass, those. Every time they go ahead and do an S2 Pass purchase, they get charged a fee for that. So what we can do immediately is we can go ahead and arrange it where they can, like for football, if there's 5 home games, they can buy all 5 home football games at one time, so there's only one fee, instead of having 5 individual fees, to save them money right now. As far as like a season pass, like we talked about for a break for families, that's something we're gonna have to bring back with you. We're gonna have to do some discussion and figure out how, but yes, we do wanna bring something like that back. But immediately, we can put in this, which would reduce from 5 fees to 1 fee.
Good.
So, it's a little savings to start off immediately, as far as that part.
Do we require that everyone that is a Madison County school use S2 as opposed to S2 or GoFan or?
I'll have to get with Matt to see what other options there are. I think it was, S2 is one, is there another one, Ms. O'Bannon?
There's
We have two
GoFan.
schools that use GoFan, but it needs to really for the parents and the community. We're trying to make that consistent so that everybody using S2 Pass.
Yeah, because that is,
Is there one that's
Can't pass.
easier? Because I've used both of them and I can't tell the difference. I mean, but
They're both easy, it's just different as to how the bookkeepers track it in the schools, but they're both pretty easy. S2 Pass has better reports and better controls in place, right, Ms. Gross? Yes. And so, we just have 2 schools that haven't converted over, and we're trying to work with them and their principals. Parents don't wanna go to this event and pay it one way and another,
Well-
other districts, they're the same. Whether
Right.
they use GoFan or S2 Pass or something else, they're consistent wherever you go. And that's what Matt's working on.
yeah, what is difficult from a parent standpoint
It is.
is not that there's 2 different apps, it's that you don't know until you get to that school. And then in Madison County schools, we have a lot of schools without the Wi-Fi or data cellular service to be able, so then you're stuck at the gate trying to pull up this app that's not going to pull up. You didn't know until you got there which one you were supposed to use. And I've had a lot of parents accidentally buy the wrong thing on S2 and then get there and find out the reason they couldn't find the right game was because this school is GoFan and now they can't pull it up and they don't take cash and then they feel like they can't get in the game. And it's just a very frustrating thing for
So can we say
grandparents
the
especially.
board wants you all to be consistent?
You can say that District 2 would prefer that.
2 schools,
I know one of them.
they're both in your district.
Thanks.
It just is it's more, if there's not enough signal to then get a ticket, then you're stuck.
Everybody, it's so much better, and since we only have 2 that are different, it's just a matter of training them, and it's works with it, but it's different, it's a change, but it's not hard.
Okay.
I'm just also thinking if we're gonna try to provide packages, that we're gonna all need to be on the same app in order to be able to provide that equitably throughout the system, because we don't know that GoFan and S2 are gonna offer us the same things.
Is it too late to encourage these two schools to go to S2 Pass?
Oh, no, sir. We thought about, or Matt's not here, I was speaking for him, but tell him, okay, we'll get through football, but we're going to move these two schools over for basketball and for all future sports. Giving them a little time since starting. But no, you can change at any time.
I don't mind reaching out to them and telling them I would like to be more uniform. So,
I mean, if it was 50-50 in our district, that's different. It would be a
Right.
bigger task to move everybody at the same time. But we just have two schools on GoFan.
okay.
And I would just like to add, I do support the consolidating down to one way of ticket purchases, but I do want to bring up again, and I've spoken with Mr. Cubic about it, but the ticket prices. You know, are we adequately increasing those? We're at $10. City of Huntsville's at 11. And I said it at the last board meeting. Our athletic departments rely heavily on these tickets to fund their programs, and I don't know if staying at $10 is going to, you know, I'm not saying that we have to go up to 12, but I feel like that we should at least match what Huntsville City is doing. Unfortunately, we don't have the revenue stream to help our athletic organizations throughout the county. They rely on donations and people ticket prices to generate their revenue. So I would like to have further discussion on this before we actually vote on it.
I think one of the other things that we'll have to look at if we're going to have further discussion, and I don't know the details because I don't do this part, but my understanding from talking to some people is that there is a fee involved, as we already know, with using S2 or GoFan. And the higher the ticket price, you can fall into a higher fee. So although you're only increasing your ticket 11, for the parent, you might be increasing it to $12.50, which doesn't sound like a lot until you've gone to 10 games with you, your spouse, and your two other children, because then you've increased it, you know, by $5 or $6 every single game, so $50 a season.
Right.
So if we're going to look at that, I think we also need to consider what that looks like contractually with the apps that we're using.
I would agree, Ms. Bates.
So a vote right now would change these prices to what is highlighted.
Correct. Yeah, I don't have a problem with bringing this back and
Okay.
having some more conversation with Matt and seeing if we can work up a draft.
But tell them to check the fees first to see what Ms. Bates' point was.
So what the ticket price will be plus what the fee is, so that way you get a total ticket
Yeah,
price
what
that
are
you
we-
know what your parents are paying.
Yeah, what are we actually asking people to do? Because I get that we rely on that, but we also don't need to make it prohibitive for parents to be able to attend their kids' events. And that's a tough call.
And I had a conversation with Mr. Jones, and that's one of the things that I'm leery of too, is I don't want to price us out of having support and people being able to attend, so. But I'll get with Matt and I'll get some information from him for you all to see that shows what the ticket prices are, what the fees, so that way you can see what they're truly paying for a game. And then, we can bring this back. I just was want to get something done before we get into football season, so if we are gonna increase it, our football teams can take advantage of that, so.
The first home games are third week of August, right?
Yeah, and so we have a board meeting next Tuesday for personnel, and then we have the work session in early August, so we can just want to get it published as soon as possible, so.
So do we need to table this, or you just gonna pull your
I'm just
recommendation?
we'll table it, and
Okay.
I'll pull the recommendation for now, and we'll bring it back at a later date.
So us tabling it, is that a vote, or?
No, I'm just putting the superintendent withdrew the
Okay.
recommendation.
And I'll bring it back to y'all at a later date, okay?
Okay.
All right, ready to go on the next item, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I recommend that the board declare 2 retired school buses surplus property and approve the donation of those retired school buses to the Huntsville Fire and Rescue as submitted. Neither bus is mechanically operational. They are of no use to the school system, but are still intact and would serve as a great training props for the vehicle extrication training by Huntsville Fire and Rescue. Recently, Huntsville Fire and Rescue donated a retired fire truck to your fire science program. Partnering with their department will benefit the students of Madison County as we develop the fire science program for our students.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I recommend approval of the June financial statements and payment of bills as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the contracts for services as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the team's contracts as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the personnel items, Addendum 1 and Addendum 2 as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. President, I'd like to take a pause here and let you know that we now have 2 new principals. Mr. Anthony Davison will be leaving New Market School from his AP position and taking over the helm at Walnut Grove Elementary School. And Dr. Tony Bonds, who has come to us from Russellville, will be taking over Hazel Green Elementary School. So we're excited about those 2 gentlemen joining the Madison County, well, one joining the Madison County family and the other one taking on a greater role as a leader. So we're excited for them.
Congratulations. So this fills all of our principals' spots.
We still have Morse Mill. It closes on Thursday.
Okay.
We've done some preliminary interviews. We got some more to go, and we will have a recommendation for you on next Tuesday, so that the new principal will be available at that point, provided everything goes well. Okay?
Okay.
I recommend approval of the principal and assistant principal probationary contracts as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I recommend approval of the supplemental contracts as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Cindy, do we need to bring this one back after?
Executive session.
Yes, sir.
That's it until, we'll do the, item I will be after the executive session, sir.
Okay.
So you need a motion for executive session.
A motion for a 5-minute recess and
Yes.
then go to executive session.
Second.
Before we go to that, does anybody have anything for the good of the board? I was gonna, Mr. Curry sent me, talked to Mr. Curry earlier, and he just wanted me to let everybody know that he was not here tonight for a family emergency, so y'all could just be in prayers for that. I just need a motion for an executive session and a 5-minute break to discuss
To discuss real property.
property.
Uh-huh.
Motion.
Motion, second, any discussion? All those in favor? We are in executive session.